Hey there, fabulous ladies. Welcome to Bring Back Your Pink, where we celebrate the fabulousness of midlife and beyond. I am JenBe, your host, your biggest fangirl and impact-driven entrepreneur living my biggest and boldest life, so you can too. Get ready to leave behind societal expectations and embrace a life filled with laughter, joy, and endless possibilities. So stand tall, turn up the volume, and let's dive into the world of living life in full color. Together, we'll rediscover the power of being unapologetically ourselves, and we will release our inner vibrancy, and together we will bring back our pink. Let's make every moment count, girls. Hello, everyone. Lovely ladies. Welcome to Bring Back Your Pink. Today, you have me. This is my story. And I want to share with you a journey, I guess, of transformation that began when I was made redundant at the age of 52. It's a tale that led to the birth of me embracing who I truly was meant to be, and ultimately the birth of Bring Back Your Pink, this podcast that I love so much that, I like to think empowers midlife ladies to live their lives in full, vibrant color. Because you've probably heard me say this a million times, but remember, you're never too old and it's never too late. So when I was made redundant at 52, it seriously felt like my life was over. It hit me like a freight train. I was devastated, and it was such a defining moment that felt like an ending, the closing of a book that I just wasn't ready to put down. Because to me, this job at this age was probably my last job. This is where I was going to see out my career. But I navigated through the initial fog of disbelief and worry and the self-limiting thoughts and the sabotage and all the mean girl stuff that came in. It's like, you're not enough, you're not good enough, they've got rid of you because they don't want you anymore. All of those things that constantly play out, in front of us. But a spark within me began to flicker into life. It was like, well, hang on. Maybe I don't have to try and find another job. Maybe I can do something that I really want to do. It was the ember of opportunity, the possibility of reinvention, and the chance to embrace, what I now see as my true calling. For me, personally, it was the start of something absolutely extraordinary. As the days turned into weeks, I realized that this was really was far from the end of my story. Instead, it was a new chapter. It was so exciting. It was beginning to unfurl. There's so much potential and all of the possibilities. And I embraced all of that with 30 odd years of graphic design and branding experience under my belt, and so much untapped potential at my fingertips. I began to see this not as a loss, but as a liberation, a liberation of trying to be somebody I wasn't, trying to fit in the corporate box, trying to kind of stay invisible. It was a push. Yes, a very harsh push, but towards the path of self-discovery and authentic self-expression. Now, I am Taurian. We love to live in comfort zones. I will happily stay in my comfort zone, even if it isn't comfortable. So quite honestly, I often need a push to get out of that comfort zone to discover amazing new things. Now, having the time and the space I needed to reflect, reevaluate, and reconnect with my passions was absolutely golden, to be able to just spend that time. And we so often do not give ourselves the gift of time, and I'm very grateful to my husband that I was able to have that gift. It granted me the courage to peel away those layers of expectation and convention to reveal my core, who I really was meant to be, not who I thought I should, quotes around that, should be. I began to chart a new direction, one that was aligned with my skills, of course, and interests, but driven not by, job titles or corporate ladders, but by the sheer joy of building something of my own and something that I know can impact others, because that is what I'm all about, is creating impact and helping others. It just makes me so happy. Yeah, I went through the 5 stages of grief. Of course I did, because I was grieving the loss, denial, like disbelief. My God, I've been made redundant. I can't believe this. What am I going to do? I'm freaking 52, like what the fuck? Anger. I was so angry. It's like, how dare they do this? I've been with this company for 7 years. I've worked my butt off. I loved this job. It was so frustrating. And then the bargaining begins, the sweet empty promises of, what if I wasn't made redundant? What if only? And then the depression, and it was like, it was all my fault. As I said earlier, I wasn't enough. I wasn't enough to keep my job. I was too much. I was too flamboyant for corporate world. The mean girls in there going, like, they never wanted you in the first place. I'm like, well, hang on, mean girl. I was there for 7 years. But, it seemed to cloud everything. But again, as I realized and began to accept what had happened, I found the fuel to reignite my life. I truly did. In here, amidst the remnants of a career that I once knew and, once thought I loved, lay the seeds of absolute opportunity. And I was in this acceptance, this embracing of what was my present reality, that this profound shift occurred. I often refer to myself as a phoenix because I've risen many a time from the ashes. But again, like a phoenix rising, I drew upon the very essence of my being to fuel my rebirth. This was more than just being resilient this time. It was a reawakening. And, with each passing day and week, I gathered the scattered pieces of who I used to be and began to weave them together into a world of new beginnings. This phase of acceptance became a launch pad to propel me towards a future I'd never dared to imagine. It's here that I learned that, honestly, life's greatest setbacks can become the catalyst for, honestly, its most triumphant comebacks. Now, every year, and that's why I'm actually talking about this right now, because the 3rd anniversary has just gone past of me being made redundant, and every year I now celebrate that. Last year I celebrated by rebranding my branding business into JenBe brands, because the reason with the BE is I empower women to be who they were meant to be and to be the best version of themselves and have a brand that becomes a flamingo in a flock of seagulls. So JenBe was just the perfect brand. And last year I celebrated with a little party at home, just a ponky tonk as a flamingo, and we danced and I had cake and it was amazing. This year, I celebrated by closing my branding course launch on that day, and it was the largest launch that I've ever had. And I now am working with a truly beautiful group of women that light me up every time I see them. And if I hadn't been made redundant, this wouldn't have happened. But I digress, as I often do. I do, girls. In this newfound freedom, I discovered the really exhilarating world of brand foundations coaching. Now, I'd always been a graphic designer. I've been a graphic designer since I left school. And I'd always worked in branding. I'd worked in advertising agencies, but I'd always known that there's a lot more than just, the logo. So as I was growing and going, I'm going to go back into branding, I discovered something that I'd always been doing, which was the strategy and the foundations, became something that was super passionate for me. And here I found the power not only to rebuild my professional identity, but to help others guide others in carving out their own unique, authentic brands. Helping female or feminine energy brands find their, it factor, I guess, became what I got out of bed for every day. It was exhilarating the way these women, their lives light up, when they actually understand what the foundations are, they understand how it can help, and they understand their brand's potential. I embrace the challenge with absolutely open arms, and truly it sparks joy and it gives me purpose to be able to guide others through what is a pretty intricate dance of brand creation. This is more than a job now for me. It's a mission to empower, to give back power, to allow ladies to step into their true power and to inspire them, to take the raw, untamed ideas of, passionate women and sculpt them and help them sculpt them into distinct, resonant brands that spoke to hearts and mind alike, because that is what we want. A brand, it's not just a transaction, it's a connection, a relationship. We want to speak to the hearts and the minds. It's not just about logos and color schemes or catchy taglines. It is about digging deep into the core of what makes each business tick. And I love doing this so much. Finding their authentic voice that resonates with their audience and crafting a story that stands out in a crowded marketplace. Hence, I want to teach them to become a flamingo in a flock of seagulls. And if you are the age I am, you will remember the iconic band, A Flock of Seagulls. So I hadn't had to twist into my tagline, not just be, a flamingo in a sea of pigeons. No, you have to be a flamingo in a flock of seagulls. And as my clients have blossomed over the time since they've done the course or worked with me, and their businesses do, each have become an absolute testament to the power of a well-laid brand foundation. And you know what? Their successes are my successes. I love what I do so much. I never thought this would be what I do. I never thought, when I was made redundant, that this could be my life. My mission now is to help female-led or feminine energy-led brands become a flamingo in a flock of seagulls, which will allow them to stand on their own 2 feet. If life is not the fairy tale we always wanted it to be, I want to help them rewrite their story, because I'm telling you now, if I can rewrite my story, so can they. And I wake up with gratitude every single day that I now live this life. But something else happened as well, as if by serendipity, my podcast, Bring Back Your Pink, came into being. You all know, a platform for midlife ladies like myself who are reinventing themselves, rekindling their passions and living lives in vivid, unabashed color. I never thought this would be something I would do. I have been, encouraged to do a podcast for many years by my business coach. I'm like, no podcast for me. But as I grew into myself, as I walked a transformative journey, and I realized that midlife actually is the most amazing time. And I realized that so many of the people and the ladies that I knew were faded, Bring Back Your Pink came into being. Because you probably know this if you've listened to past episodes, but ladies, did you know that flamingos, when they are looking after their babies, they're not looking after themselves, they're not eating properly, and they're burnt out, they lose their pink. And, I was very faded. There's no doubt about that. But I walked a journey that brought me back to my pink. And that's what I love about this, because I know it's possible for everyone. I want to help women like me that have seen their fair share of lives changing tides and want to repaint their next chapters with bold strokes of passion and purpose. I love to remind my listeners that the only permission slip they need to seek a life of color is their own. It's become my mantra and my message. You're never too old, and it's never too late to reinvent yourself. Start a new adventure and claim the vibrant life you deserve. And I say that so often, and I remind myself so often of this, because we all have our bad days. There's days where I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I just want to stay in bed. But I'm like, no, Jen, get out of bed, because you're never too old and it's never too late. So at 52, my second act showed me what I'm made of, really. And it can for you too. Your story is not over. The pages are still turning. And with every turn, there is an opportunity to inject more pink, more vibrancy, more life into the everyday. So here's to, the rebels, the dreamers, the late bloomers, and the visionaries. May you always remember that your brilliance is not dimmed by time. It's only made more radiant. So being made redundant was actually the best thing that happened to me. It really was, even though it wasn't like that at the time. It gave me the chance to step into my true power and to be able to help others do the same. And yep, leap I did into a world where my expertise and life experiences could not just fuel my own resurgence, but also kindle the flames of others and the potential in their lives. Redundancy was not the end. It was a passport to a beautiful new beginning, the chance to embrace my true calling with both hands and rewrite the story of my career. You know, what I do now is not just a job. It's a mission to empower, to inspire, and to guide other women who feel lost in transition, to help them see the brilliance within themselves, to help them know that it's not too late to start a new business, to start a new journey. It's never too late. My story now is a story of rebirth, you know, a testament to the fact that sometimes life's unexpected turns can truly lead us to the most fulfilling paths we ever thought to explore. I haven't actually done this before, and I'm like, I thought maybe I should at the end. Do you have any questions? Honestly, come follow me on Bring Back Your Pink on Instagram. Slide into my DMs. I love a chat. Let's talk about how you can bring back your very own shade of pink, no matter your age. Because let's be honest, I love a good chat. I love to hear other people's stories. I love to create a little community. So please come follow me and chat with me because I love that. Anyway, until next time, my beauties, don't forget, wear your pink with confidence. And I will see you next week with another super awesome lady that I'll be interviewing soon. Thank you so much for listening. Bye. Hey, ladies, I created this podcast because I know we need more of it to help us bring back our pink and live our best lives. But guess what? We can't do this alone. So if you loved this episode, let's spread the word. Share it on your socials, send it to a friend, and don't forget to write us a review. By doing this, you become part of the movement to bring back your pink and inspire others to do the same. I'm incredibly grateful to have you in my world as we live life in full color and become our authentic selves. Together, we're unstoppable. Let's keep rocking and bringing back the pink.